Big sister, what are you doing? You can't do whatever you want. Although father may want to use you for something, grandmother and grandfather don't have so many scruples. Don't court death. Mo Fangqin anxiously said what was in her heart. Yun Chujiu laughed. Look at how scared you are. Aren't you too timid? Don't worry, you won't die. Hurry up, if you don't go, I have many ways to force you to go. If Yun Chujiu had said that in the past, Mo Fangqin would have scoffed. But now that she had witnessed Yun Chujiu's shamelessness, she had every reason to believe that Yun Chujiu was telling the truth. Tie this on your knees, it will be useful later. Yun Chujiu handed Mo Fangqin two strange-looking things. Mo Fangqin looked at her blankly. Big sister, this is to keep your knees warm. It's not cold now, why are you wearing it? If I tell you to wear it, then wear it. Don't talk so much nonsense. Hurry up. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to wash up and follow Yun Chujiu out of the house. Qing Lu and Qing Ji were also startled awake. The two of them were a little dissatisfied. It was fine that they were bullied yesterday, but why did they start to mess around so early in the morning? Why did they get up so early in the morning? Just guard the courtyard. Third sister and I have some matters to attend to. Yun Chujiu waved her hand at the two of them, then dragged Mo Fangqin out of Tingyi Xian. Mo Fangqin's heart was on the verge of breaking down. What was this country bumpkin trying to do? Mo Fangqin was having wild thoughts when she saw Yun Chujiu jump onto a tree with a tap of her toes. Was she crazy? Is this country bumpkin crazy? Yun Chujiu folded a few branches and kept them in her storage ring before she continued to jump forward. Big sister, where are we going? Mo Fangqin's heart was in a mess. Her right eyelid kept twitching. She felt like she was about to get into trouble. Big sister will bring you to a good place. You will know when you arrive, Yun Chujiu said mysteriously. Mo Fangqin could not help but feel puzzled. This bumpkin had never been to the old house before, so how could she be so familiar with the terrain? How could she know that Yun Chujiu had a photographic memory? She had memorized the place after walking once. Moreover, she had already asked Dean Hong how to get to the place she wanted to go yesterday. At this time, the sun had just risen, and most of the people in the Mo residence had not yet woken up. Only a few patrolling guards had noticed the two of them. However, seeing that it was their master, they naturally would not interrogate him, so the two of them had a smooth journey. Mo Fangqin looked at the signboard in the courtyard not far away, and she almost wanted to die. Mo Fangqin. If you want to die, you can die yourself. In going back, you're courting death. Third sister, this isn't a dangerous place, what's there to be afraid of? What's there to be afraid of? That's grandfather's study, and even uncle and the others are not allowed to enter casually. What are you doing here? Don't tell me you want to blow this place up. Mo Fangqin was obviously traumatized. Idiot. Of course we are waiting for grandfather here. Otherwise, how are we going to catch grandfather? Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Catch grandfather? Grandfather was not a pig. Why would he need to be caught? Mo Fangqin was certain that Yun Chujiu was going to stir up trouble again. She turned around and was about to leave, she heard Yun Chujiu say faintly, Third sister, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you really leave, I promise that I will make you regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't believe me, you can try. What on earth do you want to do? Mo Fangqin was afraid and angry. She recalled Yun Chujiu's ruthlessness when she was training in the dense forest. She recalled her tiger-like strength when she blew up the main gate of the Mo residence. She was terrified. Don't worry, it's definitely a good thing. Come here, I'll dress you up first. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Little girl, are you spying on me? I'll make you my accomplice. Tui. Accomplice doesn't sound good, it should be called lackey. It sounds better than accomplice. Yun Chujio took out a rope and a tree branch from her storage ring and tied the tree branch to Mo Fangkin's back. Mo Fangkin's heart felt like it was about to explode. Mo Fangqin, what are you trying to do? Can't you tell? Haven't you heard of begging for forgiveness? Hurry up and tie me up as well. I think grandfather will be here soon. Yun Chujio said as she handed Mo Fangqin the rope and the branch. Mo Fangqin had actually refused in her heart, but since she was already on the boat, she had no choice but to tie the branch to Yun Chujio's back. Mo Fangqin followed Yun Chujio unwillingly to Mo Xiaoting's study room. Yun Chujio immediately knelt down on the ground and gestured at Mo Fangqin with her mouth, hinting for Mo Fangqin to kneel down as well. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to kneel down as well. Only 2 sentences flashed through her mind: who am I? What am I doing? Who am I? What am I doing? Mo Fangqin suddenly realized the purpose of the 2 items that Yun Chujio had given her. It was to make it more comfortable to kneel, not to mention using them as a cushion. Big sis, what is the name of the item you gave me? It's called Easy to Kneel. It was invented by a senior called Xiao Yanzi. Easy to kneel. Senior Xiao Yanzi. What the hell was going on? Mo Fangqin was dumbfounded. There was someone even more dumbfounded than her. It was the guard guarding the study room. Seeing the 2 kneeling people, he could neither persuade nor chase them away. He could only helplessly hope that Mo Xiaoting would come quickly. Mo Xiaoting's schedule was very regular. Every day, he would wake up at midnight, eat breakfast and go to the study room to read and deal with matters. Today was no exception. From afar, he could see 2 people kneeling outside the study room. What was going on? They didn't ask anyone to punish them for kneeling. Mo Xiaoting walked over and took a closer look. He was so angry that his nose almost went crooked. The people kneeling on the ground were his 2 granddaughters. Each of them had a thin branch tied to their back. How thin could the branch be? In short, the rope used to tie the branch was thicker than the branch. Fang Chao, Fangqin, what are you doing? Mo Xiaoting was displeased. He originally thought Mo Fangchao was smart, but he didn't expect her to be so unreasonable. Of course, Mo Fangqin did not make a sound. She also wanted to know why she had to kneel here and embarrass herself. Why? Grandfather. Let's go in and talk. Isn't kneeling here too embarrassing? Yun Chujio blinked and asked pitifully. Mo Xiaoting was so angry that he laughed. Now you know how embarrassing it is. Why didn't you feel it just now? Grandfather, we were the only ones who were embarrassed just now. But now that you're here, we can't drag you down with us, Yun Chujio said with a concerned expression. Mo Xiaoting scoffed, HMPH. You're so glib-tongued. Come in. If you don't have a proper reason, I won't let you off. Mo Fangkin's legs were a little weak. She had been kneeling for quite some time. Even though it was easy to kneel, it was still tiring. Most importantly, she wasn't sure what this country bumpkin was up to. Wasn't he just looking for trouble? Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin followed Mo Xiaoting into the courtyard. The main room in the courtyard was where Mo Xiaoting usually worked. There were also a few side rooms for some unknown reason. This was the first time Mo Fangqin had entered Mo Xiaoting's study room. Not to mention her, even Mo Fanghua had never been allowed in. Who would have thought that she would come in such a fashion today? Yun Chujio couldn't help but sigh. The last person she had met was her grandfather. Although the grandfather wasn't related by blood, he was someone who loved her dearly. The person in front of her was obviously her biological grandfather, but he was a scheming stranger who only cared about benefits. Yun Chujio sensibly kneeled on the ground, so did Mo Fangqin. Speak, what's going on? If you don't have a proper reason, I won't let you off lightly, Mo shouting asked after sitting down. Grandfather, the reason why the two of us had to apologize was because we didn't fulfill our responsibilities as sisters. We allowed Jun Chen's mischievous actions to tarnish the Mo family's reputation. We deserve to be punished, Yun Chujio said bitterly. Mo Fankin's heart tightened. Could it be that this country bumpkin wanted to punish Mo Junchen because of what happened last night? You idiot! Mo Junchen was her grandmother's treasure. How could her grandfather possibly punish him? It was over. Not only was her grandfather going to punish them, her grandmother wasn't going to let them off either. Even Madame Luo was going to look for trouble. She had been tricked to death by this country bumpkin. Mo shouting furrowed his brows, Jun Chen. Jun Chen is indeed a little stubborn, but your parents have their own ways of disciplining him. Why are you asking for forgiveness? Yun Chujio immediately stood up. Mo Fangqin was so shocked that she almost fell to the ground. It was over, it was over. Was this country bumpkin going to flip out? Mo shouting was also shocked. What was this Mo Fangqin trying to do? Grandfather. Although you are an elder and there are some things you shouldn't say as a junior, I can't take it anymore. I have to say it. Even if you want to punish me, I will say it. Yun Chujio straightened her back and said seriously. Mo shouting was amused, oh. I want to hear what you have to say. Say it, grandfather, there is a saying, a glimpse of a leopard can tell a whole leopard. From your evaluation of Jun Chen just now, I know why he is so stubborn. This is all the result of your indulgence. What do you mean by being a little naughty? As far as I know, Jun Chen is already 13 years old, but his spiritual power is only at the 3rd level of the Supreme Spirit Realm now. Isn't this too low? This means that he doesn't spend his energy on cultivation at all. If it's just his spiritual power being low, then it's nothing. The main thing is that he's always stirring up trouble. He thinks that the sky is the biggest and he's the second. He has an arrogant look on his face. What right does he have to be so arrogant? Perhaps, you felt that he wasn't the eldest grandson of the first wife. It didn't matter if he wasn't a good-for-nothing. However, a rat's feces spoiled a pot of soup. It didn't matter if he was stupid or useless. However, if he was stupid, useless, and lawless, he would ruin the whole thing. The Immortal Essence continent was filled with experts. If his mischievous personality offended an expert, our entire Mo family would be buried with him. I heard that the Mo family's main family is on the eastern continent. Who knows, one day, we might be able to return to the eastern continent. At that time, with such an idiot following us, wouldn't you be afraid, wouldn't you be heartbroken? Yun Chujio said bitterly. Not to mention Mo shouting, even Mo Fangqin felt that what Yun Chujio said made sense. Having such a troublemaker in the family made her uneasy. Once he offended a powerful cultivator, destroying the Mo family would be a piece of cake. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Although Mo shouting had never heard of anything that hurt, it did not stop him from understanding what Yun Chujio meant. At first, he did not think much of it, but the more he thought about it, the more he felt that what she said made sense. Fang Chao was right. It didn't matter if she was stupid or useless, but if she was stupid, useless and lawless, then she was going to ruin everything. Jun Chen's personality was extremely stubborn. If he really didn't know his place and offended someone he shouldn't, then the entire Mo family would be implicated. Besides, Fang Chao's words weren't impossible. If everything worked out well, he might really be able to return to the eastern continent. Yun Chujio had been secretly observing Mo Xiaoting's expression. Seeing that he was deep in thought with a frown and beads of cold sweat on his forehead, she knew that she was right. The reason why Yun Chujio had been playing tricks the moment she arrived at the old mansion was firstly to test the limits of their tolerance. Secondly, She wanted to find a backer in the Mo family because she felt that Mo Cheng and Luo Shi wanted to use her for something. There was an 80 to 90% chance that she would die. After some probing, Yun Chuzhou had decided on Mo Xiaoting. There was no one more suitable than him. Only he could stop Mo Cheng from doing what he was about to do. Most importantly, Mo Xiaoting was a lot smarter than Mo Cheng and he had ambition. A person like him valued long-term benefits rather than killing the goose that laid the golden egg. What Yun Chuzhou needed to do now was to attract Mo Xiaoting's attention. She needed to quickly rise to the top and become the most favored person in the Mo residence. This was only the first step. After becoming the most favored person in the Mo residence, the next step was to think of a way to help the Mo residents return to the Eastern continent. Only then would they have the opportunity to continue their studies and become stronger. Only then would they not be controlled by others. Yun Chuzhou had never felt that the hardships she had endured were anything special. What she couldn't overcome was the hardships. What she had gone through was merely an experience. Although Mo Xiaoting was in shock, his expression quickly returned to his usual cold and stern self. What you said makes sense. It's rare for you to have such knowledge at such a young age. Tell me, what did Jun Chen do to provoke you? Yun Chuzhou giggled. She said coquettishly, Grandfather, you really have sharp eyes. Nothing can escape your eyes. Yesterday, I asked my maid to go to the lotus pond to pick the lotus pods. I didn't expect Jun Chen to not only insult me, but also throw my maid into the mud and humiliate her. At the time, I was very angry, but my third sister stopped me and told me not to act rashly. I thought about it and it made sense, so I thought about it for the whole night. The more I thought about it, the more I felt that the matter was too serious, so third sister and I came to apologize to you early in the morning. Of course, I had my own selfish motives. I wanted to use the power of the tiger to get you to help me vent my anger. But what I said was also true. I was really worried about the future of our Mo residence. Jun Chen's appearance was bound to cause trouble sooner or later. It wasn't just him, if other brothers and sisters still had such a temperament. We need to teach them a lesson as soon as possible. It's best if they know the immensity of heaven and earth. Mo Xiaoting couldn't help but nod at Yun Chuzhou's words. If Yun Chuzhou kept singing high profile, he wouldn't believe her. That would be more convincing, so, he said, Fang Chao, Fang Qin, from tomorrow onwards, come to the study room in the morning and read with grandfather. Mo Fang Qin could not believe her ears. Come to the study room every morning to accompany grandfather to read? Oh my God, what an honor this is. Even the eldest grandson of the eldest uncle's family, Mo Junbang, did not receive such treatment. A country bumpkin got such special treatment just by getting a broken tree branch to carry on his back. Along the way, she also benefited from it. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin did not know what to feel. She knew that Yun Chuzhou had deliberately mentioned her to help her improve her impression of her. But, why would a country bumpkin help her? Didn't a country bumpkin know that she was Madame Luo's spy? With her intelligence, how could she not know what she was doing? Just as Mo Fangqin was in a daze, Yun Chuzhou tugged at her sleeve and said in a crisp voice, "Thank you, grandfather. Third sister and I will be here on time tomorrow to read with you." Mo Xiaoting nodded. "You guys can go back first. Come back tomorrow morning." Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin bowed and left Mo Xiaoting's study room. Mo Fangqin did not regain her senses for a long time. It felt like a dream until Yun Chuzhou mumbled, "Third sister, get rid of the tree branch on my body first. It's so embarrassing to parade around like this." Mo Fangqin pursed her lips. Now she knew how embarrassing it was. She looked quite proud when she carried the tree branch on her back just now. The two of them untied the ropes on each other's bodies. Mo Fangqin asked in a low voice, "Aren't you here to complain? Why don't you ask grandfather how to deal with Junchen? Yun Chujio smiled sinisterly. Third sister, just learn from me. At this moment, silence is better than words. If I don't mention it, grandfather will also teach that idiot a good lesson. If I mention it, it will make me seem petty. Mo Fangqin was deep in thought after hearing Yun Chujio's words. This country bumpkin was really full of bad ideas. However, would grandfather really punish Junchen? When Mo Fangqin came back to her senses, she was stunned. Big sister, where are we going? Aren't we going to listen to Hixien? Are you stupid? Of course, we are going to pay our respects to grandmother. At the same time, we are going to tell grandmother this exciting good news. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. Pay her respects. You should be the one showing off. Oh God, could she refuse? She didn't want to be implicated. Mo Fangqin was only thinking about it because she knew that it was useless to say it. Yun Chujio had plenty of ways to force her into submission. The two of them soon arrived at the main courtyard. Before they entered the house, they could hear the lively laughter inside. Mo Fangqin said in a low voice, it's probably because first aunt, third aunt, and my cousins are all here. Don't mess around later, lest you drag me down with you. Don't worry. When have I ever messed around? I'm the most low-key person. Let's go in. I reckon that they're secretly eating good food. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Mo Fangqin felt even more uncertain. You're low-key. If you keep a low profile, then there will be no high-profile person. Oh God, oh Earth, please pray that this bumpkin doesn't have a stroke. Two maids stood at the door. When they saw Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin, they wanted to stop them. Apart from Mo shouting and Mo Junchen, everyone else had to be notified by the maids before they could enter. Yun Chujio did not care about those stupid rules. She grabbed the two maids and jumped in. Mo Fangqin felt a sudden pain in her temple. She had a premonition that this country bumpkin was going to cause trouble again. However, since Yun Chujio had already entered, she could only follow in with a stiff face. The harmonious atmosphere in the room suddenly became stagnant. Everyone's gaze turned to Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin. To be more precise, they all turned to Yun Chujio. Old Madame Lu snorted coldly. What an unpresentable thing. Don't you know the rules when you enter an elder's room? Mo Fangqin's face flushed red, but she did not say anything. She felt that it was better to leave this kind of situation to the country bumpkins. Aya, grandmother, I really want to see you, so I forgot the rules in my excitement. I'll be careful next time. If you don't let me in, I promise to obediently go back to Hechuan, Yun Chujio said with a smile. She didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Old Madame Lu clearly didn't expect Yun Chujio to have such a reaction. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She did not know what to say. Yun Chujio knew. This fellow smiled as he sized up the few unfamiliar faces. Then, he said in a crisp voice, Third sister, quickly introduce these people to me. Why do I feel like I'm in the Jade Lake Immortal Palace? They are all fairy-like figures. The corners of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. Country bumpkin, is it really good for you to be so blatant in your flattery? The few women were also a little unnatural, but they were secretly happy in their hearts. This was because no woman did not like to be praised for their beauty, even the old lady was no exception. Big sister, this is first aunt. Big sister, this is third aunt. Big sister, this is Sister Fang Huang from first uncle's family. Big sister, these two are Sister Fang Min and Sister Fang Hui from third aunt's family. Mo Fangqin introduced them to Yun Chujio one by one. Yun Chujio sighed and said, I guess you've all heard that I'm that poor little wretch. I've long heard from third sister that first aunt and third aunt have the hearts of bodhisattvas, and the three sisters have the looks of fairies. Today, when I saw that it was really the case, I really felt ashamed of my inferiority. Mo Fangqin almost vomited. Act. Country bumpkin, just act. Those few people did not know about Yun Chujia's Black Lotus attribute. When they heard Yun Chujia's words, the sense of superiority in their hearts became even stronger. HMPH, as expected, she was a country bumpkin who could not be put on the stage. What a pity for her looks. Mo Peng's wife, Wu Shi, recalled Mo Peng's instructions. She revealed a concerned expression. Fang Chao, the past is in the past. Now that you've returned to the Mo family, you naturally won't suffer anymore. When you have time, go to First Aunt's residence for a visit. Your cousin Fang Xuang has a lot of clothes that she hasn't worn before. Mo Chang's wife, Mrs. Niu, curled her lips. Sister-in-law, there's no one as unscrupulous as you. If you want to give her new clothes, then give her new ones. Fang Xuang, when you have time, go to Third Aunt's residence. Third Aunt will give you a few new clothes. Mo Peng and Mo Chang did not tell their respective wives that they had been scammed by Yun Chujio, because they felt that it was too embarrassing. Therefore, Wu Shi and Niu Shi thought that the person in front of them was a poor little girl, but they did not know that it was a black lotus with full skills. Yun Chujio used her sleeve to wipe away the crocodile's tears. Wu, I'm really touched. First Aunt and Third Aunt, you're really too good to me. I won't disturb you too. If you two really feel bad, you can give me a few welcome gifts. Yesterday, grandfather and grandmother gave them to me. Wu Shi and Niu Shi were dumbfounded. They had never seen a girl who wanted to give a welcome gift at the slightest disagreement. Wasn't this too shameless? First Aunt, Third Aunt, why aren't you talking? Do you think my request is too much? Didn't they say that the elders had to give a welcome gift to a junior for the first time? Is there no such rule in the immortal Yuan continent? Since that's the case, then just pretend that I didn't say anything. I was rude. I'm really sorry. Yun Chujio tugged at the corner of her clothes. She looked at him with a bewildered expression. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Fang Chao, of course we have to give you a welcome gift. You really have a short temper. Wu Shi said with a smile, but her words were full of disdain. Fang Chao, your aunt is right. You really have a short temper. Niu Shi also agreed, and her expression was also full of disdain. Although Mo Peng and Mo Chang had told them to strive for Yun Chujia's succession to their respective manners, they did not think much of it. This was because they felt that the matter of succession was simply unrealistic, so they were not too enthusiastic. The meeting gift prepared for Yun Chujio was only a middle-grade spirit tool. Aunt, Third Aunt, it's not that I have a short temper, but Uncle and Third Uncle had already said that they would let you two give me a very expensive meeting gift. Moreover, each family will have two of them. That's why I've always been thinking about this useless person. Yun Chujio said with slight embarrassment. Mo Fangqin stumbled. Heavens, this country bumpkin really dared to say that. She had previously cheated Uncle and Third Uncle of so many things. Now, she still dared to continue to cheat Aunt and Third Aunt. Wasn't she afraid that they would settle the score later? Wu Shi and Niu Shi, however, believed her words. They couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Their master had bragged about it. If they didn't honor it, wouldn't they lose a lot of face? Wu Shi gritted her teeth and said painfully, Fang Chao, your uncle did tell me yesterday that you have suffered a lot over the years. This jade bracelet and jade ring will be given to you. Seeing that Wu Shi had given them two upper-grade spirit tools, Niu Shi could only grit her teeth and take out two upper-grade spirit tools to give to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio put the things into her storage ring with a smile. Thank you, Aunt. Thank you, Third Aunt. Go back and thank Uncle and Third Uncle for me. You are really too good to me. Wuxia and Wuxia put on a stiff face and said a few perfunctory words. In their hearts, they secretly blamed their husbands. There was no trace of Guoji at all. Now, they had thrown in 2 high-grade spirit weapons. After Yun Chuzhou thanked Wuxia and Wuxia, she turned her gaze to Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2, she said with a smile, Sister Fangzhuang, Fang Min, Sister Fang Hui, it's our first time meeting. I have some small gifts for you guys. I wonder if you guys have something for me too. Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2 were stunned. How could this country bumpkin be so shameless? It was one thing for him to ask for gifts from his elders, but now he was actually asking for gifts from his peers. However, they thought that since they had a good relationship with each other, they would not be at a disadvantage, so they took out a middle-grade spirit tool and gave it to Yun Chuzhou. Then, they looked at Yun Chuzhou with eager eyes, wanting to know what gift she would give in return. At this moment, Mo Fangqin really wanted to find a hole to hide in, because she was very sure of what Yun Chuzhou would give in return, and that was cabbage. Oh God, it was really too embarrassing. As expected. Yun Chuzhou smiled as she took out 3 cabbages and stuffed them into the hands of Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2. Sister Fangzhuang, Sister Fang Min, Sister Fang Hui, giving gifts is not about the value, what is important is the thought. These are the cabbages that I have painstakingly carried from the Tianyuan continent. They are all natural, green, and non-polluted. Take them back and stew them. They taste great. Mo Fangzhuang. Mo Fang Min. Mo Fang Hui. The 3 of them held the cabbages in their hands and looked confused. They had received many gifts, but this was the first time they had received cabbages. They had even used a middle-grade spirit tool to exchange for cabbages. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. First ant, third ant, these 2 trees are for the 2 of you. I won't send them off until my uncle and third uncle come. You won't pick on me, right? Yun Chuzhou asked timidly. Wuxia and Wuxia were so angry that their noses were almost crooked. Pick on me? Who cares about your lousy cabbages? During this period of time, old Madame Lu had been watching coldly. She did not say anything to remind Wuxia and Wuxia. The reason was very simple. She had been cheated by Yun Chuzhou yesterday. In order to balance her heart, she wanted to see Wuxia and Wuxia get cheated as well. Moreover, she also wanted to use this matter to make Wuxia and Wuxia isolate Yun Chuzhou and make her become a rat crossing the street. This way, Yun Chuzhou could be controlled by her and no one would plead for mercy. Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2 did not know what their parents' plans were. They were all proud and arrogant, so how could they swallow their anger? Thus, they all began to ridicule and ridicule. Sister Fangchao, if I'm not wrong, you're only at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm, right? This spiritual power is too low. Even the maids in our manor have higher spiritual power than you. Mo Fangzhuang said with disdain. That's right, Sister Fangchao. This immortal essence continent is different from your previous low-grade continent. This 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm is about the same as having no spiritual power. How are you going to face people in the future? Really, TSK, it's really a little embarrassing. Mo Fangmin echoed. Mo Fanghui was even more direct. Sister Fangchao, you don't represent yourself alone. It's our Mo family. So before your spiritual power improves, it's best that you stay at home and don't go anywhere, because it's really too embarrassing. After saying that, Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2 looked at Yun Chuzhou proudly. They thought that Yun Chuzhou would definitely have a face full of shame and inferiority complex, who would have thought that Yun Chuzhou would keep nodding her head. What you guys said makes so much sense. I think the same. A good-for-nothing like me shouldn't go out and embarrass myself. I should just stay at home and cultivate. Mo Fang's and the other two were stunned. They had already thought of how to refute Yun Chuzhou. Who would have thought that this fellow would actually take the initiative to admit that he was a good-for-nothing? How were they supposed to respond to that? Just as the three of them were at a loss, a youth rushed in from outside. As he walked, he shouted loudly, "Grandmother! I heard that country bumpkin is staying in Tingxi. You chase her out, I want to stay in there." Old Madame Liu's expression was originally very gloomy, but when she saw the youth who came in, she immediately beamed with joy. "What's with the fidgety? Be careful of falling. It's not easy to have a day off today, why are you up so early? Have you eaten breakfast?" Yun Chuzhou could not help but curse in her heart. This idiot seemed to be Mo Junchen. This damn old woman was really biased. How high was the sun already rising, and it was still early. However, when old Madame Lu mentioned breakfast, this fellow only remembered that she and Mo Fangqin had not eaten breakfast yet. This fellow was a little distracted. What should she eat later? Should she let Qing Lu go to the canteen to get food or go out to eat? Speaking of which, Fengli City looked much bigger than Jinchuan City. There must be a lot of delicious food. At this time, Mo Junchen also noticed that there were many people in the room. He perfunctorily greeted Wu Shi and Niu Shi before his gaze fell on Yun Chuzhou. "You are that country bumpkin. Do you think you deserve to stay in Tingxi? You still want to eat lotus seeds? Tui. Did that servant girl complain to you when she went back yesterday? Country bumpkin, hurry up and vacate Tingxi. Otherwise, you will be the one who falls into the lotus pond." Mo Junchen said arrogantly. Other than Mo Fangqin, everyone else had an attitude of watching the show. Even old Madame Lu only lifted her teacup and drank tea. She did not scold Mo Junchen at all. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chuzhou was currently daydreaming, so she didn't care what Mo Junchen said at all. Therefore, after Mo Junchen said those harsh words, Yun Chuzhou didn't say anything at all. However, Mo Junchen thought that Yun Chuzhou was afraid of him, so he couldn't help but become even more arrogant. "Country bumpkin, at least you know what's good for you. Move out in a while, or else I won't be polite." Yun Chuzhou was still thinking about whether to eat roadside stalls or big restaurants, so she still didn't say anything. Mo Junchen saw that Yun Chuzhou was so weak, so he couldn't help but be very proud. He walked to old Madame Liu's side and acted coquettishly. "Grandmother," country bumpkin agreed. "Tell grandfather to let me move to here Xian." Old Madame Lu tapped his forehead. "You are really naughty. Wait until I see your grandfather help you speak up, but grandmother can't guarantee that it will succeed. You haven't eaten breakfast yet, right? Yin Hong, get someone to bring over Jun Chen's favorite breakfast." Yin Hong agreed and left to make the arrangements. Mo Fangqin couldn't help but feel puzzled. Something wasn't right. Why was the country bumpkin so easy to talk to? Could it be that this fellow was holding back some bad water? With Mo Junchen's appearance, everyone's topic and focus shifted to him. When old Madame Lu heard everyone praising Mo Junchen, her old face smiled like a flower. When the breakfast was served, Yun Chuzhou, this fellow, finally ended her daydream. Her eyes shone as they fell on the table. "Oh my, the damned old woman's breakfast looks pretty good. Since that's the case, let's settle the breakfast here. Grandmother, you really care about us too much. How did you know that third sister and I didn't eat breakfast?" Yun Chuzhou directly sat down in front of the dining table and picked up her chopsticks to eat. Needless to say, the taste was really not bad. Yun Chuzhou waved at Mo Fangqin as she ate. "Third sister, what are you standing there for? Come and eat breakfast. Don't waste grandmother's good intentions." Before Mo Fangqin could speak, Mo Junchen was furious. "Country bumpkin. Grandmother prepared this breakfast for me. How dare you eat it? Get out of my way. Mo Junchen pointed at Yun Chujio and scolded. Yun Chujio looked up at him. Are you talking to me? Nonsense. Of course I'm talking to you. On account of you being obedient and listening to He Xian, he'll let you off this time. Get up quickly, or I won't be polite. Yun Chujio picked up a steamed dumpling and ate it slowly. She said indifferently, when did I agree to give Tingyi Xian to you? Country bumpkin, do you still want to deny it? When I asked you just now, didn't you acquiesce? Let me tell you, if you don't give up Tingyi Xian, it'll make you and your maid become drowning dogs. Mo Junchen said arrogantly. Yun Chujio picked up another steamed dumpling and said indifferently, did you make Qin Ji fall into the water? Humph. That's right, it was made by me. How could a country bumpkin like you want to eat a lotus seed pod? Are you worthy? Father and mother shouldn't have brought you back. A waste like you is not worthy of the identity of the eldest daughter of the Mo family's second son. Get out of my way, this is my breakfast. Mo Junchen and Mo Fonghua were blood-related siblings. Naturally, they couldn't stand the fact that their blood-related elder sister's status as the eldest daughter of the Mo family had been stolen by Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio glanced at Mo Junchen and didn't say anything. She slowly continued to eat her breakfast. Mo Junchen saw that Yun Chujio still didn't move aside, so he couldn't help but become angry out of humiliation. He flipped the dining table over in an instant. I'll let you eat. I'll let you eat. You country bumpkin, do you deserve to eat my breakfast? Even though Mo Junchen was causing trouble, old Madame Lu and Wuxia did not speak out to stop him. Instead, they all looked like they were watching a show. Old Madame Lu indulged and doted on Mo Junchen, while Wuxia and Niuxia were gloating over his misfortune. In any case, Mo Junchen and Yun Chujio were both from the second branch, so they naturally did not want the second branch to have internal strife. Mo Junchen flipped over the table and was very pleased with himself. Just as he was about to mock Yun Chujio a few more times, Yun Chujio suddenly stretched out her hand and slapped Mo Junchen twice. Mo Junchen was stunned by the slap. He had never been hit before in his entire life, not to mention getting slapped twice. Yun Chujio took advantage of his stunned moment and directly restrained his spiritual power. She also secretly poked Mo Junchen's acupoints. Yun Chujio pointed at his nose and scolded, "You idiot! Little master! Whose little master are you? Don't tell me you still want to be grandfather's brother. You didn't say anything. Then it's a tacit agreement. I'll teach you a good lesson today, you disobedient and unfilial bastard." Yun Chujio raised her hand and gave Mo Junchen another 2 big slaps. Our Mo family is a sensible family. How could there be a bastard like you who disobeys his elders and disrespects his elder sister? Tell me, are you wrong? Mo Junchen's spiritual power was restricted and he could not move or speak. His eyes were red with anxiety and he could not help but blame old Madame Lu for not saving him. Of course, old Madame Lu would not sit idly by. The main reason was that Yun Chujio's attack was too sudden. She did not even have time to react. At this moment, she saw that her precious grandson's face was swollen. She immediately flew into a rage. Bitch! Stop! At the same time, the old woman beside old Madame Lu suddenly leaped forward and slapped Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. She grabbed Mo Junchen and blocked in front of her. The old woman had no choice but to forcefully withdraw her hand. She took a few steps back before she stood still. It could be seen that she had used all her strength just now. If Yun Chujio could not avoid it, she would definitely be severely injured. Yun Chujio pointed at the old woman. "You old bitch! Did you have any part in the master's actions? What does it have to do with you that I am teaching my younger brother a lesson as an elder sister? What you owe your son makes you look old. Besides, didn't you see that my younger brother Jun Chen did not say a word? He has already realized his mistake. Get lost. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost fainted. Of course, she could tell that Yun Chujio was referring to the mulberry tree and scolding the locust tree. It was really the opposite. Wu Shi and Lu Shi were dumbstruck. Was this Mo Fangkeo's brain lacking a string? She actually disobeyed old Madame Lu so much. Wasn't she looking for trouble? Damn it. I told you to send us rotten cabbages and punish you severely. Old Madame Lu took a deep breath and softened her tone. Junchen, come to grandmother. Old Madame Lu naturally did this because she wanted Mo Junchen to go over and then get someone to teach Yun Chujio a lesson so that she wouldn't be too cautious. Unexpectedly, Mo Junchen didn't move at all. He didn't even say a word. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Grandmother, Junchen has already realized his mistakes, so he's prepared to let me teach him the principles of being a person again. So you can just watch." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she pointed at Mo Junchen and scolded, "You little bastard. Do you know that you are the shame of our Mo family? You are only at the third level of the spiritual venerable realm at the age of 13, and you have the nerve to call me a waste? Are you trying to say that I'm only at the second level of the spiritual venerable realm and not worthy to talk about you? HMPH, you have to know that the spiritual qi in the Tian Yuan continent where I am located is extremely thin. My second level of the spiritual venerable realm is even more precious than the ninth level of the spiritual venerable realm in your immortal Yuan continent. Moreover, what is there to be proud of? Without the Mo family and grandmother's love, what are you? You are nothing." Yun Chujio slapped Mo Junchen twice. "It's fine if you're a waste of spiritual power, but you don't even know the basic principles of being a human. What's the point of you living? Qingji may be my maid now, but she's actually my grandmother's maid. You're disrespecting my grandmother by bullying her for no reason. You call yourself young master and you wish to be on the same level as my grandfather. That is even more disrespectful. You disobedient and unfilial thing. I will not go overboard even if I beat you to death today." Old Madame Lu saw that Mo Junchen's face was swollen like a pig's head. She could not sit still anymore and directly jumped down. "Little slut, stop. Or else I will kill you, you unfilial thing." Yun Chujio gave her a bright smile, and then suddenly threw Mo Junchen into old Madame Liu's arms. Taking advantage of the situation, she pulled Mo Fangqin and rushed out. Mo Fangqin's heart was like a beeping dog. Fuck. If you want to run, then run. Why are you pulling me? Aren't you making grandmother think that I'm on your side? You black-hearted country bumpkin, even if I become a ghost, I won't forgive you. Tears streamed down Mo Fangqin's face. She could only follow Yun Chujio and run wildly because she knew that old Madame Lu was about to go crazy from anger. She would not listen to her explanation. If she caught her, she would definitely give her a good beating. Seeing that Yun Chujio actually dared to run, old Madame Lu went crazy from anger. She cursed angrily, "All of you, chase after her together. I must teach this little slut a good lesson today." Mo Junchen's acupoints had already been opened by Yun Chujio. She even cried and scolded, "Grandmother, you have to make a decision for me. I don't know what sorcery that slut used just now. I couldn't move or speak just now. My face hurts." Old Madame Liu's heart was filled with heartache and precious comfort. "Good grandson, don't worry. Grandmother will definitely capture that little slut and let you take revenge personally. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and chase after her. Grandmother, I'll go too. I was just careless just now. This time, I'll definitely teach her a good lesson and let her know how powerful I am." After Mo Junchen finished speaking, he broke free from old Madame Lu and rushed out in anger. Seeing this, old Madame Lu could only chase after him worriedly. "Good grandson, slow down. Be careful of hitting her. When Wuxia and Lady Niu saw this, they could not help but secretly curl their lips. This damn old woman was the most biased. It was as if she only had Mo Junchen as her grandson. Although that country bumpkin was detestable, they had to admit that they had really beaten him up to vent their hatred. They were gloating in their hearts, but on the surface, they looked like they had a common enemy. They also chased after Mo Junchen. Yun Chujio shouted as she ran, "Help! Help! Junchen is crazy. He's going to kill someone. Get out of the way. Quickly get out of the way. Be careful not to get blood on your body. Junchen is most likely possessed by a pig spirit. Kill whoever you see. If you don't want to die, get out of the way." What the hell? Young Master Junchen has gone crazy. Possessed by a pig spirit? What's going on? The servants were all dumbfounded. However, when they saw Mo Junchen chasing after them, they were so frightened that they ran in all directions. Damn it, wasn't young Master Junchen's face like a pig's head? Moreover, his eyes were completely red. Even if he wasn't possessed by a pig spirit, he had gone mad. It was too scary. Mo Junchen saw that the servants did not help to stop Yun Chujio. Instead, they tried to avoid her and scolded, "Stop that bitch. Or I will kill all of you." When the servants heard Mo Junchen's words, they were so frightened that they ran in all directions. Damn, it was just as Miss Fangchao had said. Young Master Junchen had really gone mad, killing everyone he saw. When the servants saw old Madame Lu and the others chasing after them, they believed Yun Chujio's words even more. Old Madame Lu and the others must have realized that young Master Junchen had gone mad and wanted to capture him back. We'd better hide as far away as possible to avoid being ordered to capture young Master Junchen. What if a madman kills us? Old Madame Lu saw that the servants were all running away as if they had seen a ghost. She was so angry that she was convulsing. She shouted loudly, "Are you all dead? Hurry up and help." When those servants heard old Madame Liu's words, they ran even faster. In any case, the law did not punish the masses, and old Madame Lu could not punish them one by one. Moreover, even if they were to be punished, it was still better than losing their lives. Young Master Junchen looked like he had gone crazy. He even wanted to kill his own sister. If they went up, they would definitely lose their lives. Mo Fangqin felt that both her legs were no longer hers. She had never run so fast in her life, and her heart was filled with fear. How was she going to end up in such a big mess? However, Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Third sister, are you surprised? Are you happy?" Mo Fangqin really wanted to strangle this troublemaker to death. Although it was very satisfying to see Mo Junchen, who had always been arrogant and domineering, beaten into a pig's head, once he was caught by her grandmother, he would probably lose half his life. "Third sister, don't worry. Since I dared to hit him, I have a way to cure him. Don't worry, not only will we not be punished, that little fool will also apologize to us." Yun Chujio said with a smile as she ran. Mo Fangqin's heart skipped a beat. "You're going to look for grandfather to make the decision. You're not too stupid. We have the support of the big boss, so why are we afraid of a little bastard like him?" Yun Chujio said proudly. "Big what? Big leopard? Was this country bumpkin crazy? To actually call grandfather a leopard, he was too bold." Just as Mo Fangqin was thinking about it, she heard Yun Chujio say, "However, we can't go like this. Quickly cry, the more sad you cry, the better. We still have to sing a bitter love scene later." Mo Fangqin did not have the acting skills of Yun Chujio. She held back her tears for a long time before she managed to squeeze out a few drops. Seeing this, Yun Chujio stuffed a bag of things into her hands. "Use this. I guarantee that your face will be filled with tears immediately." Mo Fangqin saw the thing that Yun Chujio handed over and was so angry that she almost fell down. Chili noodles. You're really mean. However, in order to not be punished, she could only go all out. Mo Fangqin put a bit of chili noodles into her eyes and then kept the remaining chili noodles. As expected, not only were her tears gushing out like a fountain, but her eyes were also red. The effect was so good that it was a 5-star review. Yun Chujio had her own acting bag. She did not need any external help. She rubbed her eyes and immediately burst into tears. If one did not know better, they would have thought that she had nothing left to live for. The two of them ran all the way to Mo Ziyading's study room. When the guards saw that they were back, the corners of their mouths twitched. Did Miss Fang Chao and Miss Fang Qin take the wrong medicine today? They had come early in the morning with a tree branch on their back, and now they were here with snot and tears in their eyes. What were they trying to do? Just as the guards were in a daze, they heard Yun Chujio shout, "Grandfather! Dear grandfather! Help! Your granddaughter is going to be beaten to death." Inside, Mo shouting heard Yun Chujio's wails and couldn't help but frown. What was this Mo Fangqin up to this time? At this moment, Mo Junchen caught up to him, "Bitch! How dare you hit me? I'm going to kill you." Yun Chujio couldn't help but sneer in her heart. How stupid. Yun Chujio said pitifully, "Junchen, let's talk things over. Don't shout and shout about killing. It's really too scary." The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched violently. This country bumpkin style had changed so quickly. Who was the one who scolded Mo Junchen just now? Who was the one who beat Mo Junchen into a pig's head just now? Who was the one who pointed at Sang Huai and scolded his grandmother just now? Mo Junchen was also stunned. When he saw Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin crying profusely, he said arrogantly, "Bitch, do you know fear now? It's too late. Let me tell you, I won't forgive you. Not only will I give you a good beating, but I will also throw you into the lotus pond and soak you for 3 days and 3 nights. And you, Mo Fangqin, you bitch. You are usually as obedient as a dog. I didn't expect you to bite me back now. You're really bitch." Mo Fangqin's long-standing unwillingness and resentment exploded at this moment. She rushed to Mo Junchen and gave him a slap on his swollen pig-like face. Mo Fangqin was stunned after the slap and so was Mo Junchen. This slap was even more shocking than the few slaps Yun Chujio had given him. This Mo Fangqin, who was usually like a lapdog, actually dared to hit him. Mo Fangqin regretted it after the slap. It was over. Not only would Madame Luo not let her off, but she would also make things difficult for Auntie Chiu. What should they do? Mo Junchen came back to his senses and raised his foot to kick Mo Fangqin. Mo Fangqin was in a daze and had no reaction at all. Yun Chujio pushed Mo Fangqin away and hid behind a guard. She cried out in pain, "My God, this is too scary. Grandfather! Come out quickly. Junchen, this idiot, wants to kill me and my 3rd sister." Yun Chujio's shout gave the guard a fright. This Miss Fang Chao's voice was really loud, and his ears were ringing. Mo Junchen saw Yun Chujio hiding behind the guard, and did not even consider whether he would hurt the guard. He slapped the guard, "Get lost. Or I'll kill you too." Although the guard did not dare to retaliate, he was not stupid enough to stand there and take a beating. Hence, he jumped to the side and dodged Mo Junchen's attack. As for Yun Chujio, who was behind him, she had already run behind another guard. She said 2 words to Mo Junchen silently, "Idiot." Mo Junchen was so angry that he almost went crazy. He slapped the guard again, and the guard naturally dodged. Yun Chujio moved behind another guard. When old Madame Lu arrived, she saw Mo Fangqin standing at the side in a daze. Mo Junchen crazily attacked the guards in the study while Yun Chujio nimbly dodged to the side. Junchen! Stop! Don't disturb your grandfather. Old Madame Lu was much smarter than Mo Junchen. How could this be a place to mess around? Grandmother! These two little bitches are really too detestable. I must teach them a lesson today. Mo Junchen was about to go crazy from anger. He had never suffered such a huge loss before. The pain on his face was secondary. The main thing was that it was too embarrassing. Old Madame Lu comforted Mo Junchen a few times before she said fiercely to Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin, "The two of you obediently follow me back to the main courtyard. Otherwise, you can forget about taking another step out of the Mo residence in the future." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin couldn't help but shiver. She obviously understood the hidden meaning behind old Madame Liu's words. If she didn't obediently accept the punishment today, then she would very likely be imprisoned in the old mansion forever. She might even lose her life silently. Mo Fangqin's heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. They were both descendants of the Mo family. Why could Mo Junchen do whatever he wanted? Why could Mo Fanghua receive her father's love even though they were both girls? Why was this so? However, even if she was unwilling, what could she do? How could a small arm be able to twist over a thigh? Grandfather did not come out for a long time, which meant that he did not want to stand up for them at all. Mo Fangqin looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio said pitifully to old Madame Lu, "Grandmother, although you dote on Junchen, you can't not distinguish between right and wrong. Junchen, this rebellious and unfilial thing, actually wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with grandfather. Does he want to go to heaven? You little slut. How dare you scold your elders? What are you all standing there for? Arrest this little slut." Old Madame Liu's prestige was repeatedly provoked. She couldn't care less about the many guards here and directly cursed. The old woman beside old Madame Lu immediately jumped towards Yun Chujio when she heard that. She stretched out her hand to grab Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio repeated the same trick and continued to dodge behind the guards. These guards could have dodged, but after being threatened by Mo Junchen, they could not help but feel a little dissatisfied. Therefore, they secretly cooperated with Yun Chujio to dodge. Although that old woman was old Madame Liu's trusted aide, she did not dare to hurt the family head's guards for no reason. Therefore, after grabbing for a long time, she did not even touch the corner of Yun Chujio's clothes. However, Yun Chujio's mouth did not stop. She wailed loudly, "Grandfather! Come out quickly! This crafty old woman wants to kill me! Grandfather! Help! If you don't come out now, you will only see my corpse." Old Madame Lu was so angry that her head was buzzing. This little slut must have done it on purpose. If the master was disturbed, he would definitely blame her. What are you waiting for? Attack together. Tie these two little bitches up. Old Madame Lu said to the maids beside her. Old Madame Lu looked at Wuxia and Niuxia. Both of you attack together. Although Wuxia and Niuxia only wanted to quietly watch the show, they did not dare to not move after hearing old Madame Liu's orders. Hence, the two of them rushed towards Mo Fangqin. The two of them were very shrewd. Compared to Yun Chujio, Mo Fangqin was too easy to catch. Catching one of them would be considered as giving an explanation. Mo Fangqin was not as bold as Yun Chujio. She was obediently imprisoned by Wuxia and Niuxia and brought before old Madame Lu. Old Madame Lu couldn't catch Yun Chujio, so she vented her anger on Mo Fangqin. She slapped Mo Fangqin. "Little slut! You are only a concubine's daughter. Do you think you can rebel?" Blood immediately flowed out from the corner of Mo Fangqin's mouth. It was clear how much strength old Madame Lu had used. In the past, Mo Fangqin would definitely kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. But now, she did not want to. Her heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. She just stood there stubbornly and did not say a word. Seeing that she refused to admit her mistake, old Madame Liu's anger grew. She raised her hand and was about to slap Mo Fangqin again when she heard someone clearly say, "Grandmother, if you dare to hit my third sister, I'll hit your precious grandson." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Old Madame Lu raised her head and saw that Mo Junchen was once again blocked in front of her by Yun Chuzhou. Furthermore, Yun Chuzhou was holding a rolling pin in her hand and was looking at her provocatively. "You've rebelled. You've rebelled. You little slut. I think you don't want to stay in the Mo family anymore. If you dare to touch a single hair on Junchen's head, I'll take your life." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. This wretched girl was really too detestable. She was just as detestable as that slut from before. Although Mo Junchen could not move this time, Yun Chuzhou did not hit his mute acupoint, therefore, she cursed loudly, "Slut! You motherless slut! You country bumpkin from a low-grade continent, I won't let you off. Just you wait, sooner or later, I'll sell you to the Cauldron Hall and let you ride thousands of people." Before Mo Junchen could say anything, he was replaced by a scream because Yun Chuzhou swung the rolling pin and smashed it on Mo Junchen's calves. Crack! Crack! Everyone heard two muffled sounds. Mo Junchen's calves were actually broken by Yun Chuzhou. Everyone was shocked by this change. Was this country bumpkin crazy? Although it was said that a broken calf bone could be cured with medicine, Mo Junchen would not be able to walk on the ground for at least half a year. This attack was too ruthless. Wuxia and the others could not help but shiver. Although this country bumpkin's spiritual power was low, his attack was too vicious. Even his own younger brother could do it. It was better to stay away from her in the future. However, there was probably no future. She had severely injured the old madame's precious treasure. According to old Madame Liu's personality, she would definitely not let her off. She might even take her little life. Mo Fangqin's head buzzed. Her heart was filled with anxiety and anger. There was also a hint of bitterness. Was this country bumpkin avenging her? Was she worth it for a country bumpkin to do this? Everyone was eerily silent. Only Mo Junchen was crying miserably with snot flowing down his nose. "Grandmother! Save me! It hurts so much! Grandmother, quickly kill this bitch!" Old Madame Liu's heart ached and she was furious. "Little bitch! I won't forgive you! I won't forgive you!" The rolling pin in Yun Chuzhou's hand had been pointing at Mo Junchen, so that old woman did not dare to act rashly. She could only watch. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, "Grandmother, I'm doing this for the sake of our Mo residents. Junchen is such a stupid person. If he goes out, he will only cause trouble. You can't bear to deal with him, so I can only break his leg so that he can calm down." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost fainted. You're bullshit. Little bitch, I will personally catch you now. I want to see if you dare to hit me too." After old Madame Lu finished speaking, she leaped towards Yun Chuzhou. At the same time, that old woman also made her move. Even if Yun Chuzhou had Mo Junchen as a shield, it was impossible for her to dodge the attack of two people. Moreover, she could not really kill Mo Junchen. If she really killed him, then it would be a dead end. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and was about to escape when she heard a low voice coming from the courtyard, "Stop." Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart. This old fox was really patient. He only appeared after forcing her into a corner. Was he trying to make her feel grateful? "Old fox, you're thinking too much. Originally, I only wanted to hug your leg. The rest were just stepping stones for me to climb up. As soon as Mo shouting spoke, old Madame Lu and the old woman stopped in their tracks. Yun Chuzhou couldn't help but curse in her heart. It looked like Mo Xiaoting's authority was supreme in the Mo family. He had chosen the right thigh. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and sneakily kicked Mo Junchen. Mo Junchen was in so much pain that he couldn't even feel it. Everyone's attention was focused on the courtyard door. With Mo Junchen's body covering them, no one noticed Yun Chujia's actions. Soon, the courtyard door opened and Mo Xiaoting walked out. Mo Xiaoting's face was dark. What's going on? Don't you know this is my study room? Old Madame Lu said angrily, Old master, this bitch is too much. She broke Junchen's leg. This bitch doesn't deserve to stay in the Mo residence. She should be kicked out. After hearing old Madame Liu's words, Mo Xiaoting turned to look at the wailing Mo Junchen on the ground. Although the old woman had already fed him pills to stop the pain and bleeding, the pain was still unbearable. Mo Xiaoting furrowed his brows as his expression darkened. Everyone present did not dare to breathe. They knew that Mo Xiaoting was angry. Boss wife, why don't you tell us what happened? If you dare to lie, HMPH. Mo Xiaoting looked at Wuxia. Wuxia thought to herself, what bad luck. How did she end up being the one being questioned? But, she didn't dare to keep it a secret. So, she had no choice but to bite the bullet and tell her the whole story. She didn't dare to lie, everything she said was the truth. Mo Xiaoting's expression remained dark. Since you've seen the entire process, tell us who was at fault and how we should deal with it. Wu Shi's heart tightened. She did not believe that Mo Xiaoting had asked for no reason. He must be testing her. Although Mo Peng was the eldest son, it was hard to say who would be in charge of the Mo residence in the future, so, she could not make a mistake in her answer. Wu Shi tried to figure out what Mo Xiaoting and old Madame Lu were thinking and said, Father, according to my daughter-in-law, this incident was caused by Feng Chao. So, she is the main culprit. Although Jun Chen was a little stubborn, it wasn't a big deal. As an older sister, Feng Chao shouldn't have broken Jun Chen's leg with such a heavy hand. Moreover, Feng Chao had repeatedly contradicted her grandmother. She was simply disobedient and unfilial. As a younger sister, Feng Qin did not stop her in time and even messed around with her. So, she should be punished as well. However, the punishment should be a little lighter. After hearing Wu Shi's words, Mo Xiaoting's expression softened a little. He then asked, if I hand her over to you, what do you plan to do with Feng Chao and Feng Qin? Seeing that Mo Xiaoting's expression had softened, Wu Shi felt a little more confident. Father, my daughter-in-law feels that Feng Chao should be punished severely for disobeying my grandmother and beating up my younger brother. However, if we kick her out of the Mo residence, it would be a joke to outsiders, so we should lock her up. If there is a suitable family in the future, we can marry her off and make a contribution to the Mo residence. Feng Qin is an accomplice, so she can be given a lighter sentence. Let the second sister-in-law deal with her. Feng Qin couldn't help but sneer in her heart. First aunt really had a good plan. On the surface, it seemed like she would be given a lighter sentence, but if she ended up in Madame Luo's hands, she would lose at least half her life. The punishment for the country bumpkins was even more ruthless. A suitable family. It was likely that they would have to marry the country bumpkin to someone else as a concubine or marry a fool or something like that in order to exchange for some benefits. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After hearing Wu Shi's words, Mo Xiaoting's expression did not change. Instead, he turned to look at Niu, third sister-in-law. What do you think? Niu Shi felt that this was a good opportunity to suppress Wu Shi. Since Mo Xiaoting was asking her, it was probably because he wasn't satisfied with Wu Shi's treatment. It meant that the treatment was too lenient, so, she said, Father, Fang Chao's actions were too much. Not only did she severely injure Jun Chen, she also angered Mother. Most importantly, her clamor had an extremely bad effect. Second brother and second sister-in-law finally managed to get her back. Not only was she ungrateful, she even bullied her younger brother. What an ingrate. If it were up to me, I would have broken her leg as well. This is a way of returning the favor. After that, I would lock her up and wait for a suitable family to marry out. Although Fang Qin was an accomplice, as a concubine's daughter, she actually dared to beat up the son of the first wife. This is an unpardonable crime. Although she doesn't need to break her leg, she should still be locked up and married off to a suitable family in the future. Mo Xiaoting remained silent after hearing what Niu Kor said. He then turned to Mo Fangzhuang and the other two, the three of you, tell us your thoughts. Mo Fangzhuang and the other two naturally agreed with their mother. They all wanted Yun Chujiu and Mo Fangqin to be severely punished because everything was their fault. Mo Xiaoting was non-committal as he asked, then, do you think Mo Junchen is at fault? Mo Fangzhuang quickly replied, Grandfather, although brother Junchen is a little naughty, his nature is kind. As he grows older, he will become more mature. It's normal for boys to be naughty. Mo Fangmin and Mo Fanghui also agreed, yes, grandfather. Brother Junchen has always been filial. This time, he was angered by Mo Fangchao and that's why he was so angry. Plus, at such a young age, his leg was broken by that vicious Mo Fangchao. How pitiful. Mo Xiaoting looked at old Madame Lu, are they telling the truth? Old master, what they're saying is the truth. These two bitches have gone too far. My poor Junchen has suffered so much. He deserves to be killed. Old Madame Lu said as she glared at Yun Chujiu. Mo Xiaoting nodded his head and looked at Mo Junchen, Junchen, is everything your grandmother said correct? Mo Junchen gritted his teeth, grandfather, that's right. It was Mo Fangqin that broke my leg and that bitch gave me a slap. Grandfather, you have to help me. Yesterday, were you the one who sent someone to bring Fankin's maid into the lotus pond? Mo Xiaoting asked in a deep voice. Yes. I ordered someone to do it. Mo Fangchao is a country bumpkin who doesn't deserve to live in Tingyi Xian, let alone eat a lotus pod. She is a piece of trash. Mo Junchen said arrogantly. Fang Chao doesn't deserve to live in Tingyi Xian. Is that why you want her to give up Tingyi Xian? Mo Xiaoting asked coldly. That's right. Only I have the right to live in Tingyi Xian. What right does a bitch like her have to live in Tingyi Xian? Grandfather, why would you allow them to live in Tingyi Xian? They don't deserve to live in Tingyi Xian. After all, old Madame Lu had been married to Mo Xiaoting for many years. She felt that something was wrong, so she quickly interrupted, Old master, we still need to find a doctor to treat Jun Chen's injury. What do you plan to do with the two bitches? Mo Xiaoting looked deeply at old Madame Lu, then, he glanced at Wuxia and the others, a bunch of idiots. After Jun Chen's injury is healed, hand him over to Fang Chao. If he dares to disobey, Fang Chao, go ahead and break his leg to prevent him from causing trouble. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Everyone thought their ears were playing tricks on them. Was the family head crazy? Mo Xiaoting continued, Fang Chao is right. Mo Junchen, you call yourself young master. Whose young master are you? You call your own sister a slut. She is a slut. What are you? As the master of the Mo family, how could you be so smug after bullying a maid instead of training properly? A fool like you will only implicate the Mo family in the future. If you still don't repent, I will kill you so that you won't bring disaster to the Mo family. Mo Junchen was so frightened by Mo Xiaoting's fierce gaze that he almost peed himself. He quickly hugged old Madame Liu's thigh as his entire body trembled. Old Madame Liu said unhappily, "Old master, what are you saying? How can you listen to the little bitch's one-sided words?" "Shut up. What did Fong Chao say?" "It's all your words. It's all your grandmother's fault that a good child has become like this. How dare you call your granddaughter a little bitch? You've really disappointed me. If you can't manage the house well, then hand over the position of housekeeper. I will find a suitable person to replace you," Mo Shouting said coldly. If this idiot hadn't given birth to 3 sons, she would have already divorced her. Hearing Mo Ziyading's words, old Madame Liu did not dare to say a word. Mo Shouting turned to look at Wuxia and the others. "As for you guys, all you know is to curry favor. Don't you have your own judgment? If your son treated his sisters like this, would you still say that? You guys have really disappointed me." Wuxia and Niuxi's faces were flushed red as they quickly apologized. Mo Fangzhuang and the other 2 also lowered their heads and admitted their mistakes. "Forget it. At least you guys are timid and won't cause any big trouble. Disperse. By the way, I have an announcement to make. From tomorrow onwards, Fong Chao and Fong Qin will accompany me to the study room to read," Mo Shouting said. He then turned around and walked into the courtyard. What? Mo Fong Chao and Mo Fong Qin would be allowed to accompany the master in the study room? Everyone was unable to process what Mo Shouting had just said. How was this possible? Even the master's grandson wasn't allowed to enter the study room, so why would Mo Fong Chao and Mo Fong Qin be allowed to enter? What did this mean? Wu Shi's mind spun the fastest. She thought back to Mo Ziyading's request for Madame Liu to hand over the housekeeper's authority. Could it be that Mo Fong Chao was going to be the housekeeper in the future? Wasn't this nonsense? Putting aside whether Mo Fong Chao had the right or not, she was a girl who was going to get married in the future. How could she be the housekeeper? Was the head of the family crazy? She had lost so much face in front of the younger generation. Old Madame Liu was both embarrassed and angry. She rolled her eyes and fainted. In an instant, everything was in a mess. Wuxia and Niuxia ordered people to carry old Madame Liu and Mo Junchen and arranged for a doctor to treat them. Yun Chuzhou was the only one watching from the side with her arms crossed. By the time everyone carried Mo Junchen onto the soft bed, the man spoke. Mo Junchen, apologize to me and third sister immediately. Otherwise, I will make you lie on the bed forever. If you don't believe me, you can try. You little bitch. Don't even think about it. Mo Junchen felt that Mo Shouting must have lost his mind from anger. That was why he said those words. He was sure that he would change his mind in the future. Yun Chuzhou put away the rolling pin and took out a large kitchen knife. She walked over to the soft bed and lifted the 2 guards. Their legs felt weak. What was Miss Fong Chao trying to do? She wasn't going to kill young Master Junchen, was she? If old Madame Liu hadn't fainted, the guards would still have some backbone in their hearts. But now, they really couldn't do anything to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou took the big kitchen knife and rubbed it against Mo Junchen's face. Junchen, I always keep my word. If you don't apologize, it'll draw a little bastard on your face. If you really dare to do it, grandmother, father, and mother will not forgive you. TSK, you're really naive. Are those people that you mentioned as powerful as grandfather? Grandfather dotes on me the most right now, so no one dares to touch me. I'll count to 3. If you don't apologize, I'll make a move. Yun Chuzhou said in a nasty manner. She looked as arrogant as she could be. Mo Junchen was terrified. He gritted his teeth and said, I'm sorry. Speak louder, I didn't hear you. Besides, you should at least have someone to apologize to. Don't tell me that you can't even speak properly. Idiot. Yun Chujio took the large kitchen knife and patted Mo Junchen's face. Mo Junchen could even feel the cold air from the large kitchen knife. He was so scared that he hurriedly shouted, "Big sister, third sister, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's more like it. You can leave now. Don't worry, I'll visit you often while you're recuperating." Yun Chujio waved the large kitchen knife and said with a smile. Mo Junchen couldn't help but shiver and hurriedly ordered the two guards to leave. Yun Chujio walked to Wuxia and Niuxi's side again. "First aunt, third aunt, thank you for telling the truth just now. If you did not tell the truth, grandfather would not know the truth of the matter." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she held the large kitchen knife and looked at the two people with a smile that was not a smile. Wuxia and Niuxia felt a chill on their backs and said embarrassedly, "Feng Chao, about that, we still have to go and see your grandmother, so we'll leave first." Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Aunt, third aunt, although it's easy to be a fence-sitter, you still have to judge the direction of the wind. If you go in the wrong direction, I'm sorry, but we can only pull it down from the wall." Wuxia and Niuxia naturally knew what Yun Chujio meant. They looked at each other and left quickly with Mo Fanghuang and the other two without saying a word. After walking for a distance, Mo Fanghuang said hatefully, "What's wrong with grandfather? He actually protected that country bumpkin Mo Fangchao so much. Yeah, that country bumpkin is simply too arrogant. She doesn't even put grandmother, first aunt, and my mother in her eyes. Could it be that she really wants to take over grandmother's management rights?" Mo Fangmin also said angrily. Madame Niu rolled her eyes. "Sister-in-law, although our sister-in-law usually has some small conflicts, it's not a big deal. Right now, this Mo Fangchao is our common enemy. If we don't get rid of her, perhaps the family head will really hand over the authority as a housekeeper to her." Madame Wu snorted coldly. "She's just a little girl at the second layer of the spiritual venerable realm. The family head might not mean that. Let's observe and see. Besides, there's still mother. She won't let this matter rest. She will definitely seek revenge." Niuxi's eyes lit up. "Sister-in-law, you are the smartest. Yes, there's still mother. Mother will definitely think of a way to deal with that country bumpkin. Furthermore, Luo sure isn't someone to be trifled with. If she were to hear that her precious son's leg was broken, she will definitely not let this matter rest. Let's just watch the show." On the other side, Yun Chujio took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to Mo Fangqin. "Wipe it on your face. You will be back to normal by tomorrow morning." Mo Fangqin took the porcelain bottle and did not say a word. Yun Chujio did not probe further. "Let's go to the kitchen. I'm starving from the torment." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. After such a big commotion, this fellow actually had the mood to go to the big kitchen to look for food. There was really no one else. Although Yun Chujio did not know where the big kitchen was, Mo Fangqin did. Hence, the two of them took a detour to the big kitchen. The gossip spread the fastest. Yun Chujio's heroic deeds had long spread. The servants in the big kitchen all nodded and bowed. What a joke. This country bumpkin even dared to break young Master Jun Chen's legs. How would they dare to provoke him? Therefore, Yun Chujio emptied the delicious food in the big kitchen and returned to Tingyi Xian with Mo Fangqin in high spirits. Qing Lu and Qing Ji had also heard about the incident. Therefore, as soon as Yun Chujio entered the courtyard, Qing Ji said guiltily, "Miss Fangcao, it's all this servant's fault." "Please," Yun Chujio waved her hand. "Don't talk about that. I have long disliked that idiot. Besides, I will naturally protect my people. I will kill whoever moves." Qing Lu and Qing Ji were touched by Yun Chujia's overbearing manner. They thought that they would definitely be at a disadvantage, but they did not expect Miss Fong Chao to really stand up for them. "Alright, if you want to thank me, quickly get a boat and pick some lotus seeds for me. Don't worry, Mo Junchen, that idiot's legs are broken. He definitely won't bully you." Qing Ji quickly volunteered to borrow a boat to pick the lotus seeds while Qing Lu helped Yun Chujio arrange the food. Only then did Yun Chujio and Mo Fongqin start eating breakfast. It wasn't breakfast anymore, it should be lunch. Mo Fongqin only ate a little and then stopped eating. Yun Chujio still didn't ask anything and continued to eat happily. After lunch, Mo Fongqin gritted her teeth. "Big sister, come in for a moment, I have something to tell you." Yun Chujio was secretly happy. The fish was finally going to take the bait. It was not easy to catch a mermaid. The two of them entered the house. Mo Fongqin said with a serious expression, "Sister, I used to think that you were a country bumpkin who couldn't do anything. But after getting along with you these days, I can see that you are an extremely smart person. This small Mo family will definitely not be able to trap you." "Hee, third sister, your flattery is no worse than mine. Say a few more words and let me enjoy myself," Yun Chujio said slyly. Mo Fongqin glared at her. "Eldest sister, be more serious. What I said is the truth. Originally, Luo Shi had asked me to monitor you, but now, I have decided to follow you from now on. I only have one request. It doesn't matter to me. You must think of a way to ensure my auntie's safety. As long as you agree to this, I will be at your disposal." Yun Chujio nodded. "Third sister, I am such a smart person, and it doesn't matter whether I have a follower or not. However, your filial piety towards Auntie Chiu has touched me. Alright, I agree to you. As long as you are obedient, I will not only guarantee your auntie's safety, but I will also give you a bright future. Big sister, I will listen to you from now on." Mo Fongqin was inexplicably excited. Although Yun Chujio was still under the control of others, and although she was only at the second level of the spiritual venerable realm, she believed that Yun Chujio would definitely do it. Yun Chujio nodded her head in satisfaction. She had successfully captured one of her followers. This fellow was just that shameless. He had clearly planned this for a very long time, yet he spoke in such a nonchalant manner. "Big sis, why did you make such a scene today? If you made such a scene, not only would grandmother and Mo Junshin hate you, father and Luo Shi would also hate you. Even the eldest and third wives would be unhappy with you. What exactly are you thinking?" Mo Fongqin asked in puzzlement. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio did not answer but asked instead, "Third sister, do you think grandfather is reliable?" Mo Fongqin was stunned and did not answer immediately. Instead, she thought for a moment and said, "Grandfather is the head of the Mo family, so he is naturally reliable. However, his protection for us should not be reliable because I really don't understand why he would allow you to be so ridiculous." Yun Chujio snapped her fingers. "Third sister, I told you that you are quite smart. You are right. Although grandfather's authority is supreme in the Mo family, he would not dote on me especially just because I look like a fairy. Then what is the reason?" Mo Fengkin's eyes twitched violently. "You are really shameless. Because of ambition. You also know that the Mo family's main family is in the Eastern continent. Grandfather is naturally unwilling to be trapped in the Western continent where the spiritual energy is sparse. Therefore, whenever there's an opportunity for the Mo family to rise up, he will not let it go. And I am that opportunity." Mo Fongqin could not help but curl her lips. "Big sister, although I think you're quite powerful, but aren't you saying something? How can a little girl from a lower continent like you allow the Mo family to return to the Eastern continent? I know you want to say that I'm shameless. Just say it. The greatest advantage of me is that I'm shameless. The reason why grandfather thought that I was an opportunity was because he must have tried all kinds of methods before this but failed. This was like a drowning person. Even if you threw a straw at him, he would still think that this was an opportunity. I am that life-saving straw. Yun Chuzhou said. She smiled brightly. Mo Fangqin was a little stunned. It was not because of Yun Chujia's appearance, but because of the confidence and flamboyance that she exuded from within. Mo Fangqin came back to her senses and continued to ask, "But, you haven't told me why you're making such a fuss. You've offended almost everyone. Aren't you digging a hole for yourself? Third sister, you don't understand, do you? I'm now a rat crossing the street. I've offended all the people in the Mo residence. Only then can grandfather be at ease with me. It's impossible for a person like me to form an alliance with anyone for personal gain. I can only work for grandfather wholeheartedly," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. There's only one reason. Ahem, the rest of the reasons aren't worth mentioning. For example, I just don't like that idiot Mo Junchen. For example, I want to use the tiger's power to intimidate him. For example, I want to lure the snake out of its hole. Lure the snake out of its hole. Mo Fangqin was even more confused. That's right. Didn't you say that father and second aunt brought me back for a reason? Once the news of me being valued by grandfather is spread, they definitely won't be able to sit still. They might rush over tomorrow. Of course, that idiot Mo Junchen was beaten by me. They will definitely come over to denounce him. I'm so scared. Mo Fangqin's mouth twitched. No matter how she looked at it, she felt that the country bumpkin's expression was not one of fear, but eagerness. Third sister. There's something I have to tell you first. Second aunt will definitely come to you to ask about what happened this time. She might even ask you to do something to frame me. If you don't agree, she will use Auntie Chiu to threaten you. What will you do then? One side is your mother, and the other side is a peerless young lady. What do you choose? Yun Chuzhou looked at Mo Fangqin and asked with a faint smile. It was originally a very serious and difficult question, but it was deflected by the peerless young lady. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin finally managed to get her thoughts back on track. After pondering for a while, she said, "Big sister, since I've decided to follow you, I'll believe you. So, if mother really uses my aunt's life to blackmail me, I'll pretend to agree and tell you the truth. I believe that you'll think of a way to protect my aunt." Yun Chuzhou nodded her head in appreciation. Third sister, it seems that other than the old fox and I, you are the smartest person in the Mo family. Continue to work hard, I have high hopes for you. The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. The two of them chatted for a while longer before Lu Ji picked up the lotus seed pod. Yun Chuzhou immediately jumped into the courtyard to eat the lotus seed pod. After eating a few lotus seeds, this fellow did not like to eat them. This lotus seed pod was nothing more than a crisp and tender fragrance. It did not have any special taste. However, Qing Ji was afraid that Yun Chuzhou didn't have enough to eat, so she picked up a bunch of lotus seeds. Qing Ji rolled his eyes and put the lotus seeds into his storage ring. He then said to Mo Fangqin, "Third sister, let's go and gain some goodwill." Mo Fangqin followed Yun Chuzhou out of Tingyi Xian as a follower. Soon, the two of them arrived outside Mo Ziyading's study room. "Grandfather, I've brought you some delicious food," Yun Chuzhou shouted as she pulled at her neck. The guard guarding the study room was dumbfounded. This Miss Fangqiao was truly a weirdo. They didn't even need to pass the message to her. She had her own voice function. Mo shouting gave them some face and asked the guard to let them in. "Grandfather, this is a freshly picked lotus seed pod. I didn't even have the heart to eat it, so I brought it here for you to try, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Fangqin thought to herself, this guy is so shameless. He can't bear to eat it. You're the one who's tired of eating it. Mo Xiaoting may be ambitious and selfish and cold-blooded, but when he saw his granddaughter trying to curry favor with him, he felt a sense of relief. Mo Xiaoting thought for a moment before taking out 2 mid-grade spirit tools from his storage ring. He'll give them to you. Yun Chujio accepted the spirit tools and said with a smile, thank you grandfather. We still have to visit grandmother, so we'll take our leave first. Mo Xiaoting waved his hand and Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin stepped out. After walking a distance, Yun Chujio said proudly, third sister, did you see that? A few lotus pods were exchanged for 2 mid-grade spirit tools. Do you know what this means? Mo Fangqin was at a loss. What does it mean? This means that grandfather is very stingy. He actually only gave us 2 middle-grade spirit tools. I thought that he would give us 2 upper-grade spirit tools no matter what. Yun Chujio said while pouting. Mo Fangqin was speechless. Is it really good for you to be so greedy? A few lotus seeds exchanged for 2 middle-grade spirit tools. What else do you want? Big sister, are we really going to visit Grandma? Grandma hates us to death now. If she sees us, won't she be angry? Aren't we walking into a trap? Don't worry. We have Grandpa's great amulet. She only dares to scold us verbally. If she wants to scold us, she can scold us. Anyway, there's a lot of meat left. Then let's go back and cultivate. Why do we have to pick up and scold her? Mo Fangqin thought to herself. She had heard of people picking up money, but she had never heard of people picking up and scolding them. Could it be that country bumpkins were bored? Third sister, you unfilial brat. Grandma is sick. Shouldn't we go and visit her? Stop dawdling and hurry up. Yun Chujio pouted and said. Mo Fangqin almost laughed out of anger. This country bumpkin's words sounded better than his singing. She definitely didn't have any good intentions. The two of them quickly arrived outside old Madame Liu's bedroom. Old Madame Liu's furious scolding was coming from inside. Mo Fangqiao, that little slut. What kind of sin did our Mo family commit to give birth to such an unfilial thing? Hurry up and send a letter to second brother. Let him, the father, teach this little slut a good lesson. Mo Fangqiao shrunk her neck and looked at Yun Chujio. That meant that she was angry inside. Should she still go in under such circumstances? Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth at her and shouted excitedly, Grandmother! Grandmother! I've come to see you. I've brought you something good. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she did not bother with the maid on duty and directly rushed into the bedroom. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to follow her in. Old Madame Lu was sitting on the bed. When she saw Yun Chujio rushing in, she could not help but vent her anger. You damned little slut! You still dare to come? Granny Gao, capture these 2 little bitches for me. The old woman beside old Madame Lu was about to make a move when she heard that. Yun Chujio yelled, if you dare to touch a single hair on my head, grandfather will definitely kill you. Grandmother, I came to visit you out of the kindness of my heart. Grandfather also knows that I'm here to visit you. I advise you to calm down. Otherwise, my grandfather might find an aunt for my father and an aunt for me. You're talking nonsense. Granny Gao, tear off her filthy mouth. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. She was most worried about Mo Xiaoting taking in concubines. Grandmother, if you have the ability, then let her beat me up. It just so happens that grandfather has no reason to divorce you. At that time, you won't need to find an aunt anymore. You can marry her openly. TSK, maybe next year, she can even give birth to a little uncle for me. Yun Chujio said with a smile without even trying to hide. I'm so angry. You little bitch, you are spouting nonsense. Although old Madame Lu said this, she did not let Granny Gao do anything. It was obvious that she had some misgivings. Granny Gao, keep these lotus pods for grandmother. It's bad for people to get angry all the time. Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled and stuffed a large bunch of lotus pods into Granny Gao's hands. This fellow's style had changed so quickly that Granny Gao was confused. She subconsciously caught the lotus pods. Yun Chujio sighed. Grandmother, I came here this time to give you the lotus pods. Secondly, I want to talk to you from the bottom of my heart. If I don't say this, my heart will be filled with anxiety. I won't be able to eat well or sleep well. Old Madame Lu snorted. Eat well? Sleep well? I think you would like to anger me to death. Sigh. Grandmother, your words really hurt my heart, my liver, and my small body. You are my biological grandmother, and I am your biological granddaughter. Don't you think we are making a joke out of each other? Humph. Didn't you say that your grandfather would find you a step-grandmother? Old Madame Lu said through gritted teeth. Grandmother, I was just afraid that you would hit me. No matter how stupid I am, I don't want grandfather to find me a step-grandmother. If she gives birth to a little uncle, wouldn't she compete with my father for the family property? Grandmother, please calm down. I really came here this time to tell you from the bottom of my heart. If I am not kind to you, I will let the heavenly lightning strike me to death. The poison vow of taking the blame for 10,000 years appeared again. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Old Madame Lu saw that Yun Chujio had sworn an oath, so she snorted coldly. Speak. I want to hear what you have to say from the bottom of your heart. Grandmother, why don't you give me a seat? I've been chased away by this nanny Gao this morning. I'm exhausted to death. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Old Madame Lu took a deep breath and gritted her teeth. Sit down. All right. Granny Gao, get someone to bring me a pot of tea and a few plates of snacks. Grandmother and I will chat while we eat. Granny Gao was holding a bunch of lotus pods in her hands. She felt that her brain wasn't enough. Didn't old Madame just shout for death? Why did she let that country bumpkin sit there in such a short time? She even wanted to drink tea. She even wanted to eat snacks. How could you be so thick-skinned? The old madam would definitely not agree. Grandmother, don't tell me you don't even have tea and snacks here. Forget it. Fortunately, I have prepared myself. I usually do things that I can do on my own and don't trouble others. As the fellow spoke, he took out a pot of tea and a plate of snacks from his storage ring. Yun Chujio ate 2 pieces of snacks and sipped on 2 cups of tea until old Madame Lu was about to fly into a rage. Only then did she say, Grandmother, in the most straightforward person. Just say what you have to say and don't pick on me. Say what you have to say, and say what you have to say. Old Madame Lu was so anxious that she was sweating. What exactly was this little slut going to say? Grandmother, do you think that I was too vicious when I broke Jun Chen's leg today? Old Madame Lu heard Yun Chujio mention Mo Jun Chen and her anger immediately rose again. Yun Chujio quickly said, Granny Gao, don't just stand there. You have nothing better to do. Peel the lotus seed pod for my grandmother and let her calm down. When Granny Gao saw that old Madame Lu did not object, she really helped old Madame Lu peel the lotus seed pod. Grandmother, although Junchen and I are not of the same mother, we are still siblings. Can I be that vicious? You don't know that even though I broke his leg, my heart is bleeding. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve as she spoke. Mo Fangqin could not help but curse in her heart. This fellow's acting was really good. He cried just like that, as if it was real. Old Madame Lu frowned suspiciously. The little slut looked really sad. What was going on? Grandmother, sigh. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not targeting you, nor my younger brother Junchen. I'm targeting second aunt. You must be wondering why I'm targeting second aunt when I have no enmity with her. In doing this for my father, and also for Junchen. Although I wasn't brought back for a long time, I've heard some things. For example, my eldest uncle and my third uncle were filial to you and grandfather. Only my father ran to Jinchuan City to establish his own family. This must have been instigated by second aunt. She has no good intentions. Yun Chujio said angrily. Old Madame Liu's heart moved. If there was one thing she was most dissatisfied with about Madame Luo, it would be the matter of Madame Luo urging Mo Cheng to move to Jinchuan City to establish his own family. Therefore, when she heard Yun Chujio mention this matter, she could not help but lean forward. Yun Chujio had been observing old Madame Liu's expression. When she saw the situation, she could not help but feel smug in her heart. The fish had taken the bait. Grandmother, there's a good saying. With your parents around, you won't be able to travel far, much less move to Jinchuan City to settle down. Second aunt kept saying that she was doing this for my father's good, but I could not see what was good about it. My father was ostracized by the other forces in Jinchuan City, how could he have the glory of first uncle and third uncle? Yun Chujio said with a twitch of her lips. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio's face revealed an angry expression. Grandmother, our Mo family is definitely one of the best in this Fonli city. Why must second aunt urge my father to set up his own family? That's because she doesn't want to come over to pay her respects to you or listen to your teachings. She wants to be the mistress herself. She wants to avoid you. She just felt that there were no tigers or monkeys in the mountains that could call themselves kings. She wanted to be the master of her own house. You are so good at managing the house. You are so wise. If she were to live by your side, you would definitely point out her shortcomings. How could she be as glorious as she is now? You don't even know that second aunt is now amazing. Who doesn't have the right to address her as Madame Luo respectfully? How would they know that there's still you in the Mo residence? Slut. Second brother is a soft-hearted person. That slut will do whatever she says. I'm really angered to death. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she started cursing. She was originally dissatisfied with Lady Lu urging Mo Cheng to establish his own family. Now that she heard Yun Chujio's words, she naturally could not contain her anger. Grandmother, please calm down. This body is the most important. Please continue listening to what I have to say. Firstly, I can't stand the fact that second aunt is unfilial to you. Secondly, I'm worried about my sister Fonghua and brother Junchen. Yun Chujio said bitterly. Old Madame Lu could not help but snort coldly. You don't have to be so hypocritical. Fonghua is outstanding among her peers, and Junchen is even more sensible. What are you worried about? Grandmother, let's talk one by one. Let's talk about my sister Fonghua first. Yes, Sister Fonghua does have high spiritual power, and she is as beautiful as a flower. However, the most important point is that second aunt has taught her badly. She doesn't put you in her eyes at all. Sometimes, she doesn't even call you grandmother. She only talks about that damn old woman. She also says that you are rude and unworthy to be the mistress of the Mo family. You should hand over the power of the housekeeper to second aunt. What? Impossible. Fonghua has always been filial. How could she say that? It must be you, this little slut, slandering Fonghua. Old Madame Lu said angrily. Grandmother, why are you always so anxious? Please listen to me. I can't run away. You can find me at any time to settle the score. I reckon that my father and the others might come tomorrow. Sister Fanghua might also come. You can observe and see if I'm right. See if she doesn't put you in her eyes. Yun Chujio picked up her teacup and took a few sips. Firstly, she was thirsty, and secondly, she was secretly observing old Madame Liu's expression. Yun Chujio saw that although old Madame Liu said she didn't believe it, her expression was a little suspicious. Then, she continued, "Grandmother, I'll talk about Jun Chen after I finish talking about Fanghua. Jun Chen is the only boy in our two branches. Do you think I want dote on him? I will be married in the future. If anything happens, don't I still have to rely on Jun Chen as a younger brother?" Old Madame Liu heard Yun Chujio's words and her heart grew more convinced. What this little slut said made sense. Her mother's family was a woman's backer. There was no reason for her to harm Jun Chen. "Grandmother, the reason why I hit Jun Chen is really for his own good. Grandmother, I know that there are some things that I have said and you will definitely be unhappy. However, I still have to say some advice that is harsh to the ear. Although you have taught him well, how can second aunt, that short-sighted person, compare to you? Therefore, some of Jun Chen's bad habits are caused by second aunt." Yun Chujio was the best at avoiding the serious and making light of it. In any case, it was right to let Madame Luo take the blame. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Grandmother, let's talk about the truth behind closed doors. Jun Chen is already 13 years old, but his spiritual power is only at the third level of the supreme spiritual stage. Don't you think it's a little low? Although he was young and unpredictable, he was really too naughty. Not to mention other things, he even dared to make a big fuss in front of his grandfather's study and even called himself Little Master. With his temper, if he were to go out and provoke someone extraordinary, it wouldn't be as simple as just breaking his legs. At that time, not only would he lose his life, even you and our MO residents would be implicated. At that time, it would be the end of our family. Grandmother, every time I think about this, my heart would turn 100 times. I wanted to say it, but I was afraid that you would be angry. I didn't want to say it, but I was really worried about Jun Chen. So, today, I might as well make a scene. Firstly, it will let Jun Chen learn his lesson. Secondly, it will give you a chance to teach second aunt a lesson. Yun Chujio said until here, and shed a few crocodile tears. Old Madame Liu frowned. Although she was unwilling, she felt that what Yun Chujio said made some sense. She doted on Mo Junchen very much. If not for today's incident, she would not have the patience to listen to Yun Chujio even if she was spouting all sorts of nonsense. However, when she recalled the scene where Mo Junchen's leg was broken by Yun Chujio today, if Mo Junchen had offended someone else today, it would not be as simple as just breaking his leg. What opportunity! Of course, old Madame Liu wasn't willing to attribute Mo Junchen's mischievousness to her doting, so she naturally agreed with Yun Chujio's words. All of this was caused by Madame Luo. Grandmother, I think you also know that second aunt brought me back to use me. My father was deceived by her and agreed to it. However, by doing so, she pushed my father to the edge of the cliff. I am my father's biological daughter. If this matter were to spread, how would people comment on my father's character? A vicious tiger would not eat its own son. This method is worse than a beast. Not only will my father's reputation be damaged, even your and grandfather's reputation will be affected. Who will benefit in the end? Isn't it still her second aunt? Maybe there is something going on with her family. Yun Chujio was completely clueless. She had heard a lot of things from the onlookers in Jinchuan City. After some polishing, she had pieced them together. Old Madame Liu was originally unhappy with the rise of Madame Luo's family. After hearing Yun Chujio's words, she immediately became suspicious. Could it be that that slut was really doing this for her family? No wonder the Luo family had risen over the past few years. Perhaps it was that slut who had dragged a lot of things into her family. How hateful. Grandmother, let me say one last thing to you from the bottom of my heart. It would be a lie to say that I don't hate second aunt. However, as long as she doesn't have any second thoughts about you and is honest in the future, I won't say anything more even if it's for little brother Junchen. Yun Chujio said sincerely. HMPH, you are still sensible. Why didn't you tell me this before? Old Madame Lu believed Yun Chujio's words, so her attitude softened. Yun Chujio gave a wry smile. Grandmother, second aunt must have ruined my reputation. Even if I told you, you might not believe me. It was said that a granddaughter could not be separated until she was destroyed. After all that had happened, wouldn't the two of us become even closer? Matriarch Lu curled her lips. You said that this is a good opportunity to deal with Luo Shi. What kind of opportunity is it? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Grandmother, you are so wise. Do you still need me to show off? You are the mother-in-law and she is the daughter-in-law. As long as she enters the old residence, you can do whatever you want to her. You are too soft-hearted. That's why her plot succeeded. You have to be more ruthless to her. Although my father and Junchen might not be happy, but for the sake of the long-term plan, this is what you love about them. Yun Chujio said in a flattering manner. Old Madame Lu said with a little pride, you little girl, you sure know how to talk. Not bad, I'm just too soft-hearted. You're just a slut who was supported by a concubine. You're still letting me flatten you. Grandmother, I have a suggestion. Do you think it's appropriate? My third sister's aunt had a gentle personality. She was often bullied by second auntie. Originally, she could have given you a few fat grandsons. But because of second auntie's interference, my poor father did not dare to enter Auntie Chio's room. Find a catalyst to bring Auntie Chio to the old residence, and then call my father back if there's anything else. I believe that you'll have a plump grandchild next year. Moreover, you can also use this to teach Auntie Chio a lesson and let her know that you're not someone to be trifled with. No matter how powerful her family is, she still has to listen to you. After Yun Chujio said this, Mo Fankin's face instantly turned red. This country bumpkin was really shameless and dared to say anything. Old Madame Liu's heart stirred. As the matriarch of the Mo residence, she naturally hoped to have many children. Out of the 3 sons, Mo Cheng had the fewest children. This last suggestion was not bad. This way, she might really have a few more fat grandsons. Furthermore, she might even be able to get Mo Cheng to move back. At the same time, she might be able to teach Luo Shi a lesson. What you said makes sense. I'll consider it. Old Madame Liu's tone had already softened considerably. At this moment, Yun Chujio stood up and pulled Mo Fangqin to bow respectfully to old Madame Lu. Grandmother, your granddaughter offended you previously. Your granddaughter is in the wrong. Please forgive your granddaughter. Old Madame Lu saw Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin doing so, and the last bit of resentment in her heart also dissipated. She nodded. Forget it. I'm already so old. How can I really lower myself to your level? As long as you are obedient and don't bully Junchen, I will naturally dote on you. Grandmother, we still can't bear to dote on Junchen, how can we bully him? In a few days, when Junchen's injuries are better, we will go and see him again. We will definitely coax him to be happy. Yun Chujio said with a smile. If your hearts and your words are the same, I will not mistreat you. If I find out that you are lying to me, I will not forgive you. Grandmother, look at what you are saying. Firstly, we don't have the guts. Secondly, you are someone who doesn't know how to read between the lines. How can you not know whether we are sincere or fake? Yun Chujio said flatteringly. Old Madame Lu might have been too angry with Yun Chujio previously. She suddenly felt very comfortable after being flattered by Yun Chujio. Her head and buttocks were originally hurting, but now they were no longer hurting. Didn't your grandfather ask you to accompany him to read books? You can't dress too inappropriately, so he'll give these 2 sets of clothes to you. Old Madame Lu said as she took out 2 sets of clothes from her storage ring. One of the 2 sets of clothes was fiery red while the other was lake blue. Yun Chujio, this fellow, said with a smile, I like to be festive the most, so am thick-skinned enough to choose this red one. Third sister, I've wronged you by asking for that lake blue one. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin smiled. Big sister, look at what you're saying. You're saying this on purpose because I like lake blue, right? Yun Chujia's expression froze and she sighed. Third sister, I know that you usually pick second sister's clothes to wear. It's not easy for you to like the color of the new clothes this time. How can I compete with you? Moreover, I really like red. Red is so festive. Perhaps our Mo residence will have a happy event soon. Old Madame Lu saw the 2 sisters humbly give in to each other. She was even more satisfied and dissatisfied with Madame Luo. Although Fangqin was the daughter of a concubine, she was too harsh. The money she saved might even be used to fill the Luo family. It was really detestable. Thank you for your reward, grandmother. You should rest well. We will take our leave first. We will come and pay our respects to you tomorrow after accompanying grandfather to finish reading, Yun Chujio said respectfully. You may leave. If you are not free tomorrow, you don't have to come over. There was no comparison, so there was no discrimination. Yun Chujia's previous appearance of a dead pig not afraid of boiling water was a stark contrast to her current appearance of obedience, therefore, old Madame Lu looked particularly pleasing to the eye. Grandmother, how can that work? No matter how busy I am, I still have to come over and greet you. Granny Gao, take care of grandmother carefully. If you need me to do anything, send a maid to look for me. Yun Chujio shamelessly took on the role of a favored granddaughter automatically. She gave orders to Granny Gao. Granny Gao did not recover from her shock and nodded her head blankly. Damn it, this country bumpkin was so full of himself. Why did the old madame's attitude change so drastically? She was originally calling her a little slut. How did she become a little girl now? She was originally rebellious and unfilial. How did she become sensible now? She had wanted to kick him out of the Missouri estate, but now she had been rewarded with 2 sets of clothes. This Miss Fong Chao had angered the old madam to the point of death. She had even broken young Master Jun Chen's leg, and now everything was fine. Moreover, from the looks of it, not only did the old madam not hate her, she seemed to like her a little. Wasn't this a little too mysterious? The most unbelievable thing was that there hadn't been anything for Madame Luo to do here. How could the culprit be Madame Luo in such a short period of time? Granny Gao pinched herself secretly and grimaced in pain. Although all these things had happened in front of her eyes, she still couldn't believe that a person could change the world with just his words. This Miss Fong Chao was really a god. Although Granny Gao had a lot of thoughts in her mind, she didn't say anything. She wasn't stupid. Now Miss Fong Chao not only had the protection of the family head, but the old madam didn't seem to bother her anymore. If she said anything bad at this time, it would be asking for trouble. Although Mo Fangqin appeared very calm in the house, after leaving the main courtyard, her entire body trembled slightly. It wasn't fear but excitement. There was also an indescribable emotion. In short, her entire body was in a state of excitement. The country bumpkin actually said a lot of things. Not only did he resolve grandmother's hatred towards her, but he also transferred the hatred onto Mrs. Luo. Most importantly, he saved Aunt from that cannibal place. Although it wasn't completely safe to go to the old residence, at least Mrs. Luo didn't dare to do anything openly in the old residence. Aunt wouldn't be in any danger for the time being. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin wanted to say something, but she did not know where to begin. Therefore, she excitedly followed Yun Chuzhou back to Tingyi Xian. I originally thought that you were there to anger grandmother. I never expected that you were there to convince grandmother. How did you know that grandmother and Luo Shi did not get along? Now that Mo Fangqin had a backbone, she might as well address Luo Shi directly. I guessed. Which parent wouldn't want their son to live closer to them? Even if the idea of starting a family was father's idea, grandmother would only blame second aunt. I was only fanning the flames. Then how did you know that grandmother would listen to your explanation? Aren't you afraid that grandmother will really arrest you and punish you? TCH. She wouldn't dare. Didn't you see that grandmother saw grandfather like a mouse seeing a cat? She wouldn't dare to go against grandfather. Moreover, what I said was all reasonable and reasonable. She would definitely believe it. Third sister, I'm telling you, as long as you give me the right opportunity, there's no one I can't fool. Yun Chuzhou said proudly. This fellow also felt that this matter was done too beautifully. It could be said to be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Firstly, he had temporarily removed old Madame Liu's hostility. Secondly, he had successfully dragged Madame Luo down with him. Thirdly, he had even managed to rescue Auntie Chiu. It was perfect. Mo Fangqin wanted to retort Yun Chuzhou, but she couldn't find any fault with her. This country bumpkin was simply too good. However, this is only a temporary victory. We need to continue working hard to consolidate our victory. Yun Chuzhou understood that Mo Xiaoting and old Madame Lu were both cold-blooded and heartless people. This pitiful impression of her could not be maintained for long. If she did not show her worth as soon as possible, Mo Xiaoting would quickly give up on her. At that time, she would once again fall into a dead end. But, how should she show her worth? Alchemy? Talisman making? Puppets? Not afraid of being struck by lightning? Yun Chuzhou rejected every single one of them. Although these skills were valuable to Mo Xiaoting, it was very likely that they would put her in a new crisis. Who knows, Mo Xiaoting might even send her to some powerful organization and lock her up to serve them. Yun Chuzhou did not have any good ideas at the moment, but this person was very generous. In any case, she wouldn't have any problems for at least 8 to 10 days. She wanted to enjoy herself first. The next morning, after having breakfast, Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin arrived outside Mo Xiaoting's study room. Mo Xiaoting had not arrived yet, so the two of them naturally could not enter. They could only wait outside the courtyard. Yun Chuzhou did not let go of any opportunity to win their hearts. She turned to the guards and said, "Thank you for your help yesterday. These snacks are for you." The guards quickly declined. Yun Chuzhou smiled and said, "They are just some snacks. They are not worth much." Seeing that Yun Chuzhou insisted, the guards had no choice but to accept the snacks. They were more or less touched. It was not because of the snacks, but Yun Chuzhou's tone and words. Yun Chuzhou said, "Give rather than reward," which somehow made them feel comfortable. Mo Fangqin watched from the side and remembered what Yun Chuzhou said to her yesterday, "Third sister, never underestimate these small figures. Although they are weak and their positions are not firm, as long as you can make good use of them, they will be a huge force. Not only that, but you can also get a lot of useful information from them." Some of the information in the words that I lied to my grandmother was from the people in Jinchuan City. So, I have to use every opportunity to gain a good impression and gain sympathy. Just as Mo Fangqin was deep in thought, Mo Shouting arrived. "Grandfather. You're here. Did you sleep well last night? Did you have a good breakfast? It feels like we've been apart for a few years. I've missed you so much." Yun Chujio greeted him eagerly. As for the issue of shame and integrity, it had never been in his mind. What was more important than his life? "Go in." Mo Shouting was a little confused by Yun Chujio's enthusiasm. His grandchildren were like mice to a cat when they saw him. They were so timid that they couldn't even speak properly, let alone be so attentive. Yun Chujio winked at Mo Fangqin. She was trying to teach her a lesson. Mo Fangqin's heart was about to collapse. "Big sis, I won't be able to learn how to be so shameless even if I wait another 10 years. You are so shameless." The guards' faces also turned stiff. This Miss Fangchao was really lively. After the three of them entered the study room, Yun Chujio immediately pretended to wipe the desk and ordered the maids to make tea. She was extremely busy. "Grandfather, the morning air is the freshest. You should open the window to get some fresh air. Don't mind your granddaughter's blabbering. Although this is an important business, your health is more important. How can your body withstand the fatigue of working day and night? There's no end to this matter. It's best to combine work and rest." Mo Shouting sat in his chair as he watched Yun Chujio busily work like a little bee. As he listened to Yun Chujio's incessant mumbling, he strangely did not feel annoyed. Instead, he felt a trace of filial piety. Mo Shouting could not help but laugh at himself. It was a joke that he only felt a trace of filial piety towards his newly found granddaughter despite having so many children and grandchildren. His three sons treated him with respect not because they were filial, not because they admired him, but because they were afraid, because of the benefits. Because, only by pleasing him would they gain more benefits and be able to inherit the Mo family in the future. The grandchildren were either afraid, or because they were following their parents' orders to please him. None of them were filial from the bottom of their hearts. Mo Shouting was deep in thought. He naturally knew that Yun Chujio was doing this to please him and to find a backer. However, he could still feel a trace of sincerity and filial piety. If she wasn't truly thinking of him, how could she have thought of such a detail like opening a window? If Mo Shouting knew Yun Chujio's intention of opening the window, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood. Although Yun Chujio had opened the window to catch her breath, the most important thing was that when she had arrived yesterday, she had discovered a spirit fruit tree outside the courtyard. The fruit was red and big, it looked very tempting. Only by opening the window could she take the opportunity to bring up the topic of the fruit tree so that she could eat it. It had to be said that this was a beautiful misunderstanding. After a while, Yun Chujio finally calmed down. "Grandfather, please take care of your business. Third sister and I will wait on you from the side. If there's anything you need, feel free to let us know." Mo Shouting nodded and began to take care of his business. The Mo residence was a powerful organization, so it naturally had many businesses and shops. Every day, someone would send over all sorts of news. Mo Shouting wasn't satisfied with his three sons, so he only handed over some unimportant businesses to the three of them. Most of the work was done by himself. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.